I want you to know, Mayor Flopdinger, that I wouldn't marry you if you were the last mayor on Earth.
My dear woman, I can assure you I was misquoted. Oh, my word. Mrs. Flopdinger will never speak to me again.
Sure. Blame it on the press. Isn't that what you politicians always do?
Oh, my dear madam. Oh, my dear Miss Smoot. My dear voter.
Schemer, I never, ever said that I wanted to kick you out of the station.
Oh, no?
No.
Then how come it says it right here in black and white? If it's in print, Miss Jones, it must be true.
Really? Okay, then it must be true that you are very mad at your mommy.
I love my mommy.
Well, it says it right here.
If my mommy reads that, she'll... Mommy, I didn't write that! I didn't write it, Mommy!
Dan, you better talk to Stacy. Carol, let's go see Billy. He's gonna be really angry at all of us.
This is some creative writing you've got here, Dan. Let's see. Romance in bloom, family quarrels, famous Indian chiefs.
We just didn't want our stories to be boring.
Oh, well, I guess you were successful then, I suppose.
Stacy, what's wrong with creative writing? I thought creative was good.
Well, there's a big difference, though, Dan, between making a story up, which is creative writing, and reporting a story. I'll show you what I mean. Remember when we all went to the movies the other night?
Yeah?
Okay. I'm going to report on that night, all right? I'm going to write a report. You help me. Let's see. All right? It all began on a dark and stormy night.
It wasn't stormy. It wasn't even dark when it began.
Oh, all right. The sun was setting.
That's better.
Okay. We drove to the theater, okay, and suddenly we were surrounded by big machines roaring and snarling in the darkness.
Other people's cars.
True. Okay, cars. Now the gates were swung wide, all right, and we were admitted by a cruel and sinister servant to the castle.
That was the ticket taker.
Okay. There, cowering in the darkness, we were offered strange and exotic foods and beverages by unseen voices.
Now I'm starting to get scared.
Oh, sorry, Dad. Okay, let's go home.
That was a real story.
Yes, but it wasn't the real story, was it? It wasn't the real report, huh?
Okay, I see what you mean.
Good.
Grandson of Sitting Bull, huh? Now, who told you that? I never said a thing like that.
Well, you said you were related to him, didn't you?
What I said was, my ancestors are Sioux, and I'm very proud of that fact. But you don't have to be related to somebody famous in order to be proud of your heritage.
Billy, does this mean you don't like me anymore? Does this mean I can't grow up to be an engineer like you?
Kara, Becky, it's okay. It's just a mistake, and we all make them. But let's get one thing clear. I am not the grandson of Sitting Bull, even if I did read it in this paper. But you'll have to excuse me, kids. And Mr. Conductor, I have to go and check the signal light.
Hi, Becky. Hi, Kara.
Hi, Dan.
Oh, hi, Mr. Conductor. Boy, are we in a lot of trouble. What are we going to do?
Don't be worried, Dan. I'm sure things will be all right. I'm sorry you weren't here to listen to what my friend Billy Two Feathers just told Becky and Kara.
About what?
About mistakes and how they're all right as long as you learn something from them. Back on the island of Sodor, Thomas just found that out for himself.
How?
Well, I'll tell you. Thomas the Tank Engine was grumbling to the other engines. I spend my time pulling coaches about, ready for you to take out on journeys. The other engines laughed. Why can't I pull passenger trains, too? You're too impatient, they said. You'd be sure to leave something behind. Rubbish, said Thomas. I'll show you. One night, he and Henry were alone. Henry was ill. The men worked hard, but he didn't get better. He felt just as bad next morning. Henry usually pulled the first train, and Thomas had to get his coaches ready. If Henry is ill, he thought, perhaps I shall pull his train. Thomas ran to find the coaches. Come along, he fussed. There's plenty of time, they grumbled. Thomas took them to the platform and wanted to run round in front at once. But his driver wouldn't let him. Don't be impatient, Thomas. Thomas waited and waited. The people got in. The conductor and station master walked up and down. The porter banged the doors, and still Henry didn't come. Thomas got more and more excited. Sir Topham Hatt came to see what was the matter, and the conductor and station master told him about Henry. Find another engine, he ordered. There's only Thomas, they said. You'll have to do it then, Thomas. Be quick now. So Thomas ran round to the front and back down on the coaches, ready to start. Let's not be impatient, said his driver. We'll wait till everything is ready. But Thomas was too excited to listen. What happened then, no one knows. Perhaps they forgot to couple Thomas to the train, or perhaps the driver pulled the lever by mistake. Anyhow, Thomas started without his coaches. As he passed the first signal tower, men waved and shouted, but he didn't stop. They're waving because I'm such a splendid engine, he thought importantly. Henry says it's hard to pull trains, but I think it's easy. Hurry, 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 he puffed, pretending to be like Gordon. People have never seen me pulling a train before. It's nice of them to wave. And he whistled. Beep, beep. Thank you. Then he came to a signal at danger. Bother, he thought. I must stop. And I was going so nicely, too. What a nuisance signals are. He blew an angry beep, beep on his whistle. The signalman ran up. Hello, Thomas, he said. What are you doing here? I'm pulling a train, said Thomas. Can't you see? Where are your coaches, then? Thomas looked back. Why, bless me, he said, if we haven't left them behind. Yes, said the signalman. You'd better go back quickly and fetch them. Poor Thomas was so sad he nearly cried. Cheer up, said his driver. Let's go back quickly and try again. At the station, all the passengers were talking at once. They were telling Sir Topham Hatt what a bad railway it was. But when Thomas came back, they saw how sad he was and couldn't be cross. He was coupled to the train, and this time he really pulled it. Afterwards, the other engines laughed at Thomas and said, Look, there's Thomas, who wanted to pull a train, but forgot about the coaches. But Thomas had already learned not to make the same mistake again. People will understand if you make a mistake. The idea is not to make a mistake and then make the same mistake all over again. Biggest mistake of all is not to learn from your mistakes. Otherwise, you'll find yourselves quite mistaken.
So anyway, there I am running home, right? I just about get to the front door when I realize, hey, my mommy is in Doodlehaven visiting one of her friends. She's even going to see the newspaper. So what am I worried about? Yeah, I think so. Oh, gotta go, kids.
Hi, Schemer. Sorry about what we wrote about your mother.
Yeah, I was just talking to her right now on the phone, and she took it pretty hard. Poor woman. But, well, there is a way you could make it up to her.
How help.
By being extra nice to me. Anybody got a nickel?
Who wrote this? This Shining Times? This disgrace to journalism? Who's responsible for this? That's what I want to know.
They are. The three of them, right there.
All right, well, listen up, kids. And listen good. This is not reporting. Now, if you want to be in the newspaper game, you got to learn to get your facts straight, and you got to double-check your facts before you go to press.
We know that now, Mr. Scoop. We know there's a big difference between telling a real story and telling a made-up story. Yeah, and we know it's okay to make mistakes if you learn from your mistakes. Yeah.
Well, maybe. I wouldn't know. You know, I never get my stories wrong.
Never.
In my reporting, never.
Scoop! Where's this Scoop? I'm looking for this nincompoop Scoop.
Mr. Mayor, here I am, Your Honor.
Are you the author of this journalistic gobbledygook?
The story on your campaign speech. Yes, sir, I wrote that.
Well, go ahead, read it. No, read it right now, right there.
His Honor said that he was here tonight to talk garbage. Well,
That is what I said. I said I was there to talk about garbage, trash collections, clean streets, recycling.
oh, sorry.
Sorry, well, what are you going to do about it?
We'll print a retraction in tomorrow's paper. No problem.
What's a retraction?
Well, it's when a newspaper makes a mistake. Yes, it happens sometimes. We print a piece as soon as possible saying that we were wrong and we apologize. You know, Your Honor, it's okay to make mistakes if you learn from your mistakes. Didn't you say that once in a speech?
No, but I will now.
Come on, let's get busy. With what? With our special retraction issue of the Shining Times. Good idea. And this time, let's put in a lot of comics.
Reach for the speed.
You've been watching Shining Time Station on WGBH-TV, Channel 2, Boston. Seen by some of our Cape Cod viewers on Channel 8, W08CH, Hyannis. Now it's
To a shining time station where dreams can come true, waiting there for you. So much to see, so far to travel, so much to learn to know. Friends by your side, hopes to hold on to, who knows how far you'll go. To a shining time station where dreams can come true. Your own imagination waiting there for you.
Funding for this program was provided in part by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and by the financial support of viewers like you.
Hi, you're in PTV Park on...
Hey TV, it's fun here!